Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Grammy. Happy birthday to you. And many more. Happy birthday, Grammy. Now that you have high-speed internet, we decided to make you a video to go with your paper making kit.
Happy birthday.
We love you. Alright, the first thing you want to start with is a pile of scratch paper. This is about a week's worth of mail, plus the stuff we threw in the pile here. You want to take all the envelopes and all the staples and most of the gluey bits out. And then you just want to tear up the paper into kind of smallish bits. You're going to blend it in a few minutes, so it doesn't really matter if you tear it up sort of unevenly. So this is about 2 cups worth. And you want to put it in a bowl with a bunch of water and soak it ideally overnight, but at least a couple hours. So I'm not going to throw this in right now. I am going to spill water all over though. So once we have this nice bowl full of paper slurry, you can do a couple of things. You can add food coloring right now to change the color of the paper, and you can even soak it in that overnight. You can add food coloring later to change the color of the paper once you see what color all these different color pieces come out to. In this case, because we've used a little bit of newsprint and some green and some pink, I want to see what color it comes out to before I add any food coloring. So, we're going to break the blender. And then we're going to pour the slurry into the blender. You don't want to fill the blender too full because you can always add more paper mix and water once you've started to blend it down. Now I will say a lot of the tutorials out there say that you don't want to do this in your primary blender all the time because there are some, heavy metals in the inks. But if you do it once in a while, that's not a big deal. Alright. We've got several cups, about 4 cups of water and goo in our blender. We're going to put the top on. And you want it to get this nice sort of concrete-y sort of consistency. So I don't think mine's really mixed up enough yet. And I'm going to throw the rest of my goop in while I'm at it. A little more water and half a stamp for good measure.
The photographer will stay in the exact same position the entire time.
Now we just want to blend it all up really well. So we want to do 1 to 2 minutes of pulsing, and I'm going to skip that part for the video. Alright, now that our pulp is nice and soupy, it's got a consistency kind of like oatmeal. It's kind of lumpy. We want to go ahead and make our sieve so that we can essentially pan for paper. You're going to start with this nice 10-inch embroidery hoop, which is going to give you a big enough piece of paper to be able to cut out a card or something else like that. And we're going to take a piece of cheesecloth and stretch it pretty tight. The tighter you can get your sieve, the better your paper is going to turn out. So I'm pulling it just a little bit with the edges of my hands, and then like any embroidery hoop, just tightening the top edge. And I'm going to pull a little bit to try and get that a little tighter while we go. Skip again. Okay. Now that we have a nice tight sieve, we're going to be able to pan for our paper. And I'm going to show you what we do before I put all the paper in. We're just going to sort of stick this in, kind of at an angle, and scoop it under. And then we're going to lift up slowly, count to 10 or 15, and let the water drain out. And then we'll be able to flip this out and make our next piece of paper. So we're going to take our slurry off the blender, or maybe we'll spoon it out. And we're going to put it into our panning. And you want to be able to save some of the pieces, some of the putty for later, so that you can thin it out or thicken it depending on how the paper is coming out. So now we're going to go over to the sink. We're going to add water to the slurry until it becomes nice and thick, nice and thin. Nice and thick is what we already have. And we're going to fill up the container pretty much completely. This is the part where it'd be nice to do this outside, but we're having a 100-degree day, so we decided to do it inside for you. So as you can see, this paper is going to turn out very dark gray, unless we do something to it. And this is the fun part of the whole process. You get to decide what you're adding to your paper. So we have a couple different things. We have shiny bits of paper that we would probably want to blend up a little bit more before we put in. We have confetti for your birthday. And we have these really pretty little shiny threads. And I think I'm definitely going to add some of those. They're kind of gold and bronze, and I think they're very festive without looking too over the top. But you do want to be careful with thread that you don't get too much, or your paper starts to look like the leftovers of the sewing room floor. So I think I'm going to add red and blue food coloring to this, so we can try and make you purple paper for your birthday card. And you know, with food coloring, it's just kind of a guess and check, so we'll put some in and stir and see how it goes. And I put gloves in your kit so you can still do this part with your hands. But I don't have any gloves here, so I'm going to use the spoon to try and get the color we're looking for. The other thing you can do is mix the dyes in such a way that you get that sort of pretty batik pattern that you can see right now. I don't know if you can see. And then your paper will come out, you know, sort of swirled colors. But I think I'm more in the mood for a consistent color today. And the other thing we're going to add to this paper today are seeds. Because one of the most fun things about your own homemade paper is you can put seeds in it, and then people can plant the cards when they're done and grow flowers from them. So we have cosmos today, orange and yellow. And this is the point where you just add the whole packet, spread out into the mixture. There we go. And then make sure you stir them in so they're spread throughout the paper that you are making. These will settle to the bottom, so be sure that you actually try and lift them up, stir them up before you do the panning part. Okay. Now we have all sorts of things in here, seeds and threads, and I think I'm going to add a little birthday confetti just for fun. Happy birthday, Grandma. And we're going to get ready to do our paper. So, you either want a big pile of paper towels or a big pile of regular towels, something that you don't mind getting dirty and that you can use to soak up a lot of water. Because obviously there's a lot of water in this paper. So we're going to start with a layer on the bottom.